Because when I think of hurt, when I've been hurt deep on the inside, I think what it really feels, from my own point of view, is it feels like I'm carrying this heavy burden, this heavy load on my back. And it's like weighing me down, and I'm carrying it through life, and I'm almost like can see myself like just, stooping my shoulders, and it's like going uphill, right, with this heavy load, right? Isn't that sometimes what it feels like? And I guess what really sucks the most is that it's me carrying the load. It's not them. It's not the people who might have hurt me or upset me. Like, that's the worst part. That's not fair. It's you and me who end up carrying this load, this burden of hurt, of shame, of guilt, of anger, right? You and me carry the load, not them. So that's what I really believe forgiveness is really all about. And that's what we're talking about today, my friend. How to make sure we get this load off your shoulders, right? Because we don't want to make it about them. We want to make it about you. That's where we're coming from it today. And today I want to share with you what I'm learning on my own forgiveness journey, because this right now, this is a year of forgiveness. I think before I was not even ready to consider the idea of forgiveness, or it didn't even enter my life. Instantly, the word itself made me angry, But now that I'm working through it and I'm learning a lot of things about myself, about, what happened in my life, all of a sudden I have a greater appreciation of my own journey. Because I think what it is really about, forgiveness as I see it today, is kind of this process of letting go of negative feelings like anger and resentment, letting that go from yourself, letting it go out into the world, so we do not carry this with us. And instead we get to feel, more present, more joyous, more alive. But most importantly, I think more whole. You get to feel that sense of being calm in your own space, in your own life, where you're not trying to, please somebody, or, please yourself by hitting some sort of, whatever goals or whatever it might be, but being happy in your own life. Like, isn't that what it's about? That's what I always say. By the way, if you don't know me, my name is Joe Bakhmutsky. I'm a survivor. I'm also author of this book, Finding Hope in Times of Uncertainty, a guide to thriving in a challenging world of today. And I always say that we all have this power inside of us, especially those of us who've been hurt and traumatized through life. We all have this power to be happy, to seek greater clarity about what's important for us, how do things fit, see greater clarity in everything that we do, to show up at our best so that we get to feel we're enough. And also to hold on to hope. That's what this book is about. Holding on to hope. No matter what happens in life and what sort of craziness and difficulties we encounter, but things can and do change for the better. As they do, my friend. And I really believe that forgiveness is one of those things that we make happen. It's one of those things we bring to life. And what I'm learning right now, and I just wanted to summarize it the way that I see it right now, where I am on my forgiveness journey myself, and I hope this is going to serve you. I kind of think of it, as the ABC of forgiveness. But I still believe that the reason why we want to be able to bring forgiveness into our lives, the reason why we want to make it a practice, is because what ends up happening is when you get hurt in life, whether that's someone just saying something mean to you, or whether this is a traumatic event that really hurts you, I feel what ends up happening is really, it keeps on hurting us, right? It doesn't become a one-off event. It becomes something that stays within us, right? We get to carry the hurt, not them, right? And what ends up happening is, I guess I kind of like to think about it as, most of the times when you're doing stuff around the house and you're trying to do multiple things, like, I remember, like, I was doing the washing the other day, and I got this pair of socks, and I was cleaning up in the kitchen, and I was gonna put the socks in the wardrobe, and I ended up like putting the socks in the bin. And I was like, wait a second, I just had these cross wires, right? And I think that's what happens sometimes. Like, you end up doing the wrong thing kind of by mistake. And it's okay, because it's a one-off, and I was able to kind of, laugh at myself and just kind of move on. But I think what ends up happening is, when we get hurt, those feelings of anger, resentment, frustration, they end up being misplaced. It's like we put the socks in the bin, but we end up putting them in the wrong places, and without realizing it. Like, all of a sudden, this anger that you have towards the person that said something just that really mean to you, all of a sudden it doesn't come out, in some healthy way, right? Usually. Oftentimes it comes out just being short with your loved one. It means going off at some person that you work with. It means it comes out at some, innocent person out on the street that you run into sometime. So what ends up happening is, we take things that are out of context, like our own hurts, and it's like taking, the rubbish and stuffing it into our wardrobe until it's full of it. And I really believe that's why forgiveness, we want to be able to put things in the right place. We want to take the hurt, we want to put it in the bin. That's where I really believe it belongs. And that's hard. That's tough. That's hard. That's why today I want to talk to you about what I think is the ABC of forgiveness, at least in my world, right? I really believe that the ABC of forgiveness, the real basics that I'm striving towards practicing right now, are these. I hope it's going to serve you, my friend, in some way, shape, or form. That's why I'm here supporting you, because I know it's hard. I know that you've been through things, and I'm here to honor your journey, to honor the feelings that you have, honor the experience that you carry around with you. So with that, the ABC of forgiveness, I want to run through these quickly, because I think that they are important. And one of them, the first one, the A, is acceptance. So often, when we get hurt, upset, experience difficulty, struggle, it's incredibly unfair. And we struggle to make sense of it. We struggle to carry it forward. We struggle to live on in knowledge that things like that could happen or even exist. This is unfair, right? And I believe that acceptance is not condoning the hurt, especially if it's really messed you up. I really don't believe it is about condoning it, but it's about trying to find ways to accept that things are the way they are. They may not be, they're probably incredibly unfair and wrong. Well, they surely are, some of those things, right? Especially when we're talking about trauma. We know that those things are unfair by default, incredibly hurtful, damaging. And yet I think it's so vital to work towards acceptance, towards acknowledging that, yes, this is what happened. We're not condoning it, we're not celebrating it, but we are trying to say that this is how things are. And we want to work with reality the way that it is, not the way we would like it to be. Because when we fight against what is, that's why we get even more upset and discouraged and even more hurt. We kind of perpetuate the cycle of hurt instead of trying to move towards acceptance, towards seeing things the way that they are. And when we start to move towards accepting reality the way that it is, we start to accept the situation the way it's kind of shaped up. That's when we can start to make change. Because when we've established where things are, we can now move them around. We can start to change because we understand how things stand today. That's, I believe, acceptance is something that we can work towards and is absolute must for us to keep in mind when we go in search of letting go, in search of forgiveness for ourselves, and perhaps even for people who hurt us in some way. Speaking of that, in the ABCs of forgiveness, the B here is bravery. I think it takes just incredible amount of courage to even aspire towards forgiving, especially forgiving for horrific things that might have happened to you, maybe been done by others to you. So I think it's vital to acknowledge that any forgiveness work is an act of bravery, is an act of courage, and give yourself that comfort of knowing that's where you're at, that's where you're working towards. Because it is a process, and it takes time, and it's hard, and it's unrelenting sometimes. And yet every step along the way, even when it's, one step forward, 2 steps back, the fact that you keep going, the fact that you keep moving forward, what we need to acknowledge is that every step along the way of this journey, you are showing bravery, you're showing personal courage in looking after yourself, into helping yourself, your inside, heal. Because that's what it is about, isn't it? Moving on our healing journey. And every single step along that journey requires bravery, and every single step makes a difference. Even if we don't notice it sometimes, every single step makes a difference. Even if we don't see it, even if we get upset, even if we get frustrated, even if we get thrown out, that's why I believe we want to show compassion. Show compassion. to yourself for being where you're at in life. Because oftentimes we struggle with things when we've been hurt, when we've been through trauma, we've been through difficulties and struggles of life. We just beat up ourselves. We say sometimes nasty things to ourselves. And I think it requires compassion to you where you've been. But I think it also calls on us to practice compassion towards others, towards your loved ones, towards people you work with, towards people in your community, towards people you meet, and even to people who may have hurt you. And I'm not suggesting that it means we make it okay. I'm not suggesting that it means reconciliation. But I mean, it's recognizing their faults, recognizing them as human beings who are maybe flawed, deeply flawed, misguided, and yet still human beings who are also deserving of justice in some way. You know, one of the situations in many situations in my life where I'm practicing forgiveness. You know, in my a few years ago, I went through testicular cancer and surgery and chemotherapy, and it wasn't fun. You know, it was a difficult process. But I think what's made it that much harder was the experience of having some of my closest, who I thought at the time were my closest friends, completely disappear from my life. They kind of went away, and that experience, which lasted quite some time, including recovery, I mean, we're talking about years, right? And it hurt me. It hurt me deeply on the inside because for various reasons, or maybe some of them I don't fully understand, but those people who were close to me, and with each one of them, I would say I've been a best friend at a particular point of our friendship. It hurt me a lot that they went away, they disappeared, you know? They effectively were not present in my life, in my family's life, and I really needed them the most. And it's something that hurt me quite a lot. And something I was thinking a lot about. I had a lot of anger, and a lot of just feeling upset and down on myself, and it's caused me a lot of grief. But I think right now I've been on this journey of forgiveness. I think it's helped me to get my feelings under control. You know, before, if I would see an update from one of them on social media or have any kind of reminder, I would immediately be triggered into anger and just or just upset, or it would just flare up in a big way. I was not ready to even think about it. It just threw me off, whatever it is that I was doing. I could be thinking about it for hours. And again, like we talked about before, this isn't fair. I mean, I'm the one who got hurt, right? But now going through this process of forgiveness and trying to find, again, acceptance. When I talk about the ABCs of forgiveness, I've been trying and working really hard to find a way to accept this is what happened. I'm not happy about it. In fact, I think it's caused me a lot of difficulty. I know that. But I'm working towards accepting that that's how things are, and that I'm living on my life as best as I can. And I did that without their support. And I think that doesn't say anything about me. It says something about them, but also says, it does say something positive about me. It does say that I'm still a good person, because I don't want to have negative feelings towards them or hatred. And I realized, like, I want them to live a good life, just not in my life, but I want them, in a way, I'm starting to wish them the best, just in whatever way means well for them. I'm also in a way glad that they're not in my life, because, I guess what sort of friends do I want these sort of people in my life? So I think this acceptance is something that's really helped me. And I also recognize that it is, on my behalf, I believe, some form of bravery. Even if no one sees it this way, or no one cares, I do. I feel good about that. I feel good about, looking at this and wanting to work through it. Not just continuing to feel angry, upset, frustrated, triggered by these reminders, because this isn't my fault. I don't want to have that in my life. So I think I feel good about myself standing up to this. I think it also requires compassion. And the way I'm trying to look at it is, I'm really trying to see these people as they are, as human beings with their own faults and their own insecurities and challenges. And I feel for them in some way. And I kind of want to let them go, and even maybe one day have happy memories again of those friendships that have come and gone, that I can still cherish in some way. And what's interesting is that this couple of days ago, I wanted to share this with you. A couple of days ago, one of these, my ex-friends, reached out to me on LinkedIn. And he was like, hey, how's it going? It's been such a long time. Maybe we should catch up. And I remember I replied to him, because now that I'm on this forgiveness journey, now I wasn't kind of triggered. I wasn't all of a sudden, angry, or I was like, I'm so much more in control of my own emotions. And I said to him, you know what? I'm not sure that I want that, because, to be honest, I'm still really hurt by what you did. And I think you know what that is. But I just want to let you know that you may not care about this, but I am on my own forgiveness journey. And in my own way, I forgive you. And I wish you and your family all the best. I think it took something for me to write it, but I felt better. I don't know how I didn't know how that would make him feel, but I received a reply where he acknowledged that he felt sorry about the fact that he let me down. He knows that it happened. In some way, that made me feel better. And it's allowed me to close this chapter of my life, that particular friendship, in a way that's made me feel better. It allowed me to find that sense of closure, to feel like, oh, now this is done, this is drawn to a close. I don't have to really think about it all that much. It allowed me to, importantly, I think, retain the good memories, the good things that have happened in our interaction and times that we've been friends, which I think is so good. Like, it's important, right? but also it allowed me to keep the difficult memories. It's not like all of a sudden, they disappeared and I'm like, oh, I'm just, it's like it never happened. No, they did happen, but now they're memories. They're not something that's just setting me off. They're not, it's gone from this heavy load that I'm carrying uphill, but it's now something that I've put aside. This one load off my shoulders, moving forward, my healing journey, on the path towards forgiveness. I have hope that in some way that has served you. And if there's anything that, you're seeking in your path, I'd love to hear from you. Just send me an email. My name is Joe at powertobehappy.com. That's JOE at powertobehappy.com. And if you like this podcast, I'd love for you to leave a review on iTunes, or on Google Play, wherever you're listening through this. I'd love for you to leave a review. Just say a few words. I'd really appreciate it. It helps a lot to help me to get the word out there, because it's my mission to talk about healing from trauma, share my own healing journey, because I think it's the journey that we all go on through life, wherever you're at. My name is Joe Bakhmutsky. I want to thank you so much for being here, my friend. I'll see you soon.